Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Grails. I'm your host Tony Sanders, and tonight with me is a very group of special guests. I would call them very informative, insightful, and I enjoy watching their content. None other than TiVo and Darkside Jedi, Lords of the Long Box.
What's good,
Yo,
Tony? We are here just to fuck with three men in a basement
right.
and destroy them.
friggin'
Destroy them.
basement dwellers, man. Basement
That's
dwellers.
right. That's what they are. Shout out to three men in the basement, yo.
Oh man, so good to have y'all guys on here, man. Yeah, I had Otto and Nemesis on here, and you guys were in the chat, and y'all said y'all could do it up a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Our condolences, man. We're sorry you had to sit through those two.
So man, oh man, you guys have been killing it. The reports have been killer. Y'all guys have been on y'all's game, and man, we Dark Side, man, we missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I had surgery, back surgery, emergency surgery, July 14th. So
This is his first live show back.
yeah, I've
Hey.
been. This is it.
Tony
Premiere
Sanders
on the
exclusive
Tony
right
Sanders
there.
channel.
Oh man, well I'm honored, man. I'm
That's
honored.
right. But no, I'm
So-
feeling good. I'm ready to get back for tomorrow's show at 9 o'clock. We're gonna bring it like we used to, man.
This is his AAA call up, basically. Get some at bats before you go live tomorrow.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's good. So I usually start the show off asking my guests what is their holy grail. So TiVo, what would you consider like your holy grail? Like like kind of unattainable, but if you did get it, you know.
Oh, Holy Grail will probably be AF-15. I think that's just like so out of reach now. Like everything else, I think is within reach. Like I think an X-Men 1 is within reach. I think an FF1 is within reach, but like Amazing Fantasy 15, even like a 2.0, 3.0. I mean, part of
Man.
adult life, man, it's hard to budget for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Like I'm on the hunt for that X-Men 1 still looking for that.
Ever since the Fox deal, man, the X-Men 1 started, it was just sitting there for the longest time. Then Disney bought Fox, boom, everything, all the FF, all the X-Men books, all started jumping up. Man.
Explodes.
Yeah, crazy. And it's like
Pun intended. He said explode.
Explodes.
Ah.
Explodes.
we got a few people in the chat. We got Comic Books NYC, Nemesis Prime, Otto from the Grotto is in the chat. Jeffrey Comic Con Henson, my bro, and we got Sith Lordly, a few other people in there. So Darkside Jedi, Holy Grail.
Well, my holy grail is probably a book. Unless I sold every single comic book I own, I'll probably never own it. But that's a Batman #1
Oh man,
for sure. First appearance of the Joker. The Joker's my guy. I love that villain. I love that character. They've done so much with him. I'm really excited for that movie. It looks. I'm stoked. But the closest I'm gonna come right here is this one, Batman #2 right there.
oof,
So that's the closest it's gonna come.
Batman 2 in the house.
Damn, he's showing the heat already.
Well, I mean that's just behind me. I got my.
so that's
books right
interesting.
here.
You said Batman 1 and not Tech 27.
No, you know what? Let's be realistic, okay?
Well, he said if it's unattainable, I mean, you know,
Well, unobtainium, isn't that from Avatar?
that's an auto word. Unobtainium, linear, mythos, you know.
So what got you guys into collecting? Like what popped it off? What like big book got you in there first?
Well, for me, you know, surprisingly, what started my collecting was comicsology. I wasn't a comic book collector growing up. I didn't really start collecting until I met Tim, 5-6 years ago. And it's blown up since then. But what got me into it was just, you know, the superhero movies were coming out. The Comic Book Men TV show was coming out. I started watching people's YouTube videos where they were doing a lot of haul videos. And, you know, I got this from a Craigslist haul, like those kind of videos that used to be very popular on YouTube. And so I went out and I went on Craigslist. Well, I started buying new books from my LCS when Death of the Family started, the New 52 Batman run.
Oh yeah.
So that's when I started actually buying. The first book I ever bought was the die-cast Joker mask on that Batman #12. And since then, after that, I went and I looked up a Craigslist ad locally, and I went and ended up buying 9 long boxes off that run. or off
Oh
that
man,
thing, and that's what started my collecting.
that is cool. TiVo, like what got you?
Well, I am the elder statesman. Probably, I'm 48 years old, so I have a very vivid memory of weird shit that nobody should remember in their lives. So, well, I started reading comics for collecting comics. So, right around first, second grade, I remember in school they allowed us to watch Electric Company, right? The old
Hmm.
PBS show.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out about Spider-Man. I was like, who is this dude Spider-Man, right? So the Electric Company was what introduced me to Spider-Man. And at the time, we had an uncle that was living with us who was going to law school at the time. Now he's actually a judge in Palo Alto. But he used to give me his Spider-Man hand-me-down comics after he's finished reading them while he's going to law school.
Hmm.
So my first introduction was like 79, 78 era X-Men. And comics is what helped me read for good or bad. You know what I mean? I mean,
Oh yeah.
I read the word and understood the word omnipotent before I knew how to pronounce it. When I was a kid, I'd read it. I said omnipotent. I didn't know it was omnipotent, right? But I knew what it meant, like all powerful. And then I remember that summer, there was these nerdy kids that lived in our apartment complex. This was back in Virginia. And this is how nerdy they were. They used to play with the original Micronaut toys, right? And they
Yeah.
literally had an ant farm, right? That's like the stereotypical nerd. But in their storage unit, they had X-Men comics. Right about 79, I saw a cover of the X-Men. I said, what is this? I saw Nightcrawler. He was all blue and shit. And I was like, man, that just looks amazing to me. So right around like fifth or sixth grade, I think in fifth grade, when we were living in Cali, I got introduced to this cat who was a freshman in high school, and he taught me how to collect comics. He told me what you want to do. You want to get first appearances. You want to get #1 issues. That was the first time I saw an Amazing Fantasy 15 in person. So this is
Really? He had one?
This is the early 80s, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he would sell me comics for like 50 cents, $1. So literally in fifth grade, that's when I got the bug to learn how to actually go out and look for stuff. He told me, first appearances, he told me, John Byrne is a living God. He's a living God. You got to get John Byrne. I was like, okay. And then that's where I started. And the story, I told the story before, but I used to go to 7-Eleven, and that's when I used to sell comics, and I used to steal them. The first comic I ever got was like X-Men 172, 171, where it's a Wolverine samurai cover with him and Mariko. So remember the Peachy folders?
Oh yeah.
Right. So the rack was all the way down the end of the aisle where the video games were. So we used to play video games in the morning before the bus came. So what I'd do is I'd open up my binder. Nobody's looking. I'd just throw 2 comics in each side, close my binder, boom. Next thing you know, I had like 60 comics in like 2 months, right? It was like everything. So statute of limitations gone. I could break that secret out now. But
you're such a nerd, man. I was stealing cigarettes out of the spinny cigarette racks they used to keep right next to
I was in 5th
register.
grade. What are you talking about? I wasn't smoking. I didn't smoke till like the 7th or 8th grade, man. But we were living in
you're a
the
late
hood at the
starter,
time.
man.
Yeah.
All the dirty laundry aired out here on Watch the Grails.
But I remember like 5th, 6th grade is when I first went into a comic shop. So it was like 82, 83. And I was like, man, this is incredible. And at that time, my Grail or my wall book was a What If #1, because the guy who had taught me about comics, he showed me a bunch of What If books. And I was like, these are awesome. What's the first What If? He goes, it's this one. I looked in the wall like, $20. That's way too much, but I could never get that. Getting $1 a week for allowance. That was like my holy grail right there. But here, speaking of, seeing the X-Men and Nightcrawler, this is like one of my grails right here.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So this is the.
Oh, hold on.
I had a 9.2 of that, and it was a stolen book, and I had to give it back.
This giant size X-Men #1 signed by Chris Claremont. I made the mistake of this was original in 8.5, but I made the mistake of cracking it and getting it signed. It would have made the difference. Here's why I'll always remember this book. This book was sitting at Stan Lee's desk when he died. I mean, not literally as he died, but it was waiting for him to get signed.
There's genetic material on that, probably.
Exactly. So I don't want to sound awful, but when I heard
you might be able to clone. You can do the clone. What is the clone saga?
Yeah. So when he passed away, I felt bad. I was like, I reached to my facility. And I go, hey man, I don't want to sound awful, but Stan signed my books before he passed away.
Oh man.
Because I had like 3 or 4 books for him because at that point it was like what $200 a signature. It was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
pricey, you know, right when he passed away. But I was like, no, he didn't get a chance to. And I know some other cats that had stacks too, like Dennis from 4Comics. I don't know if you know who he is. He's big on Instagram. He also had a stack there too. My friend, the Big To Do, who owns a comic shop
Oh,
big on
yeah,
Instagram,
yeah. I know
he
yeah.
had a big stack there too. And nobody got Stanley's signature that I wrote.
Oh man.
Well, if we're talking about Stanley signatures, this is the one Stanley signature I have in my collection, and that's the
Oof. That's
Amazing
a good one.
Spider-Man 14, and it's a Stanley signature that you can actually sort of read,
Oh yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah. No,
So
that's nice.
This will definitely stay in the collection until I decide to maybe one day upgrade. But until then,
Still a little blobby, but yeah.
you know, I mean, it's
Hey.
CBCS, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Shout out to NY Warriors and their sponsor, CBCS. If you want to sell your stuff for 15% less, go to CBCS.
But it's still a pretty book.
So I don't have X-Men 1 yet, but I was able to snag a X-Men 4. Second
Oh,
appearance of
nice.
Magneto,
Yes.
first Quicksilver, first Scarlet Witch, and first Evil Mutants.
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
That's
Yes.
right. Yo, that Scarlet Witch. That's gonna pop. All those X-Men books, man.
Is that first Scarlet Witch?
Yeah.
Nice. She's a great character. I tell you what, in Endgame, they teased how powerful she really was. I mean, she didn't get to go full force, but they teased that shit. I hope they show it in that show, in the Wanda show.
Well, I think it's going to be in Doctor Strange in the multiverse.
Oh, that's
I think
right.
she's going to be
too.
yeah. I think she's gonna do a House of M, say some crazy shit, and all the universes are gonna break loose, man.
Man, because like she's probably still distraught over seeing it twice or whatever, doing it the first time and then having to see it the second time.
Yeah, because they know she's they're gonna introduce her as a mutant now, so she's gonna explode some stuff.
And speaking of Doctor Strange, like I don't have the first, and I always say get the second. So I got Strange Tales 111, but it is
that's the first appearance of Baron Mordo.
Yeah,
that's right. That's hot. That's hot. I got that in a funny story. I actually lowballed a good friend of mine on eBay. Yeah, John Wynn, Jane Guy One used to be a YouTuber.
You know what? He doesn't collect comic books anymore.
Yeah, so he had it up there, and I lowballed him, and he sent me a message. He goes, "Dude, was that you just sending me that offer?" I go, he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, that's me." I go, "Oh." He goes, "Why are you lowballing me?" I said, "Wait, man, we're family. Why don't you hook it up?" I was all right. But speaking of that, here is my Grail. First Doctor Strange.
Beautiful.
Oh man, hold on, we gotta zoom in on that.
So this is the
take it to the other side, Tim. It's in the glare a little bit on your computer screen.
Okay.
Like take it to your
there
left.
It is.
Your left, maybe your left side.
Let me minimize.
Well,
I can see it. Here you go. So it's a 5.5.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
So this is the old label. I had a 3.3, which I can be a condition whore sometimes, a snob. I had a 3.3 and I had writing on it. So, and I actually won it in a raffle off of one of Jim Mint's raffles. And I was like, oh, I finally got it. But I was like, you know what? This is my Grail. This is my dude. This is one of my personal Grails. I don't know if it's considered a holy Grail, but this is one of my personal Grails. And that I sold my 3.0, and then I actually traded somebody I forgot what it was. I traded like 3 books for this, and I had no qualms with it, because part of getting your key, I think, is you can't be emotionally attached to books if you want to get what you really want, right? You got to be ready to get rid of something at a whim's notice if you want something, right? Mm-hmm. So, obviously there's things that you say, no, I'm not getting this, but I mean, now and then you got to wheel and deal to get that. So, if you don't want to spend money.
I don't care too much about Doctor Strange, but that book I would want for Paste Pot Pete. That looks like definitely the spec character that we need to be talking about, that Paste Pot Pete.
Right.
So you guys are pretty heavy Marvel. I'm bringing DC. That was the one Marvel book I showed. I do have Marvel books in my collection, but my love first and foremost is Teen Titans.
I thought it was Twinkies.
And Twinkies. I like.
Right.
I like. Well, that was gonna be really a wrong thing to say, but
go for it.
I'll start out with the first appearance of the Teen Titans.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice little 6.0. I'm probably thinking it's probably about a 5 CGC.
Oh man, free it from its casing. Oh, good.
I have to. I'm just lazy. But yeah, so this is first and foremost my favorite team in comics.
Wow. That is nice, but and that label just
I
makes
know,
it
I know. I'll
awful.
fix it. I'll fix it.
Friends don't let friends use PGX.
So yeah, that is a like that book and what's the other one? The one with Superman on it on the cover with Green
Oh,
Lantern.
this
Oh,
one.
oh yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah, yeah.
So this is Detective Comics presents number 26. This is the first appearance of the new Teen Titans. This share it's Starfire, Raven, and Cyborg's first appearance.
Nice.
Man.
And this is double signed by Chris or uh who are they? George Perez
Wolfman
and Marv Wolfman. I got
yeah.
this signed by Rocket Comics. They do stand in
That
line
book,
services.
All
So
right,
that
it's
so
book,
like, all
awesome.
right, so how do y'all feel about when you have to send it into these third-party
You
places
know what?
and like it takes forever? Like,
I
how do you
get
feel?
nervous, but at the same time, he does such a good job. I've used him for multiple submissions. They press, they clean, they submit for you, and then in a couple months you get your books back. So I mean, you got to be patient when it comes to grading. You know, regardless if you send
yeah.
it in yourself, it's going to come back. Unless it's a modern book, it's going to come back in a couple months.
Years ago,
Yeah.
I've made the decision that standing in line for signatures and submissions that shows is a waste of your time. Just have a facilitator do it. You know what I mean? It frees up your time to walk around the con and get other things as
Oh,
opposed
and
to
it's
standing in
and
line.
it's and
Yeah.
it's not too expensive. It's very fairly priced, I think. For
Yeah.
for your time, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I know Ryan has this, but he may have sold his copy. And this is an interesting Grail because I got it because the guy who worked on it no longer is retired, so I figured it'd be a good chance to get this. And it's really the highest grade book I own. This is a Crossed 100 9.9 signed by Alan Moore.
Yeah, damn it, I
Oh
sold mine.
wow.
Yeah, so Alan Moore, it worked on this book. It's it's not a crazy book, but it's the highest copy, highest graded book I own, and it's the only Alan Moore book I own.
And that's a
There's
nice
not many
signature.
Alan Moore signatures out there, so that's
No,
why I was like, especially now that he's retired, I was like, man, I got to get this. So I doubt it's going to be any movie or anything, but it's nice to say I got a 9.9.
It's a rare signature.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's
You
don't
know.
see him that many. I mean, he's not doing any signings anytime soon. I mean, he kind of hates the industry. So you know what I'm saying?
Shouts out to Joe Ryan Comics in the chat, Johnny Dakota, Comic Books NYC, Burke Nasty 54. How y'all guys doing tonight? So, well, I was showing y'all guys this book earlier, and I'm gonna show it again. But I was showing it to y'all. But it's
Yeah.
the Justice League #1, and this is the first appearance of Maxwell Lord, which is the.
Put yourself on full screen so we can see that nice.
So this is supposed to be
There you go.
the first appearance of the antagonist for the Wonder Woman movie, the '84.
Ah.
So this is his first appearance, but also he is also the guy that kills Ted Cord. So if they ever make a Booster Gold, so this
That
would
Green
be.
Lantern cracks me up, man.
Poor
Bald-headed
guy.
haircut, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the redheaded stepchild, man.
Yeah, he is. But in the recent run, he was a badass, man. Which one was
He
that?
turned
Where
into he turned into the Red Lantern, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I was reading like a recent run where he was fighting. He didn't have his ring with him, but he's just like the rough and gritty Green Lantern to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
He was always he's like my favorite, but always the most undervalued one. I'm like, dude, he was supposed to bend the Green Lantern, but Hal got the ring first.
He's got issues.
Yeah.
Well, they call that they call that getting screwed in the back behind the wrestling term. I'm not so much up on the wrestling terms, but I have a friend of mine. You get jumped in the back. That's
Yeah.
how he gets with the
Yeah.
with the Green Lanterns. And they don't have any respect for that guy.
Mhm.
Oh, speaking of Green Lantern, so
I mean, Kyle Rayner got the push before he did. That's crazy.
this Kyle Rayner.
Yes, sir. That one.
Just Kyle Rayner's young. That's
I
why.
must have known what you were
Yeah.
thinking about showing next. That's crazy.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a DC Marvel guy. Like,
You look, man. I like it all. I like
Yeah.
it all, but I prefer, I like to collect Batman and shit like that. Plus, Marvel books have gotten super expensive.
Yes, they have. And
Yeah.
that's a perfect segue to one of my grails. So my three favorite characters are Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and Thor. So my second personal grail is this bad boy, and I've had this forever.
Oh man.
So this is now a very expensive book, but this
Yeah.
is first appearance of Silver Surfer.
Very pretty book.
I recently got this is 7.0. This
That's
is still an old label.
second generation, isn't it? Like, or is it,
Yeah. So I have FF49. I had to put, because that book was pretty inexpensive until all the recent news. And so FF50 is now, but this is my second personal grail. So it's, and my personal grail or holy grail that I haven't gotten yet is, is Journey into Mystery 83. That's the one book that I'm trying to get. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm happy I'm done. So I got my 3 my favorite characters, so it'd be, I just need to get Thor now, but that Journey Mystery, man,
that way that you hone in on what you want to collect. See, my problem was that when I started, I bought everything.
Yeah, because like you're trying to catch up. It's like I'm behind.
You know what I mean? And I bought things that I really didn't even care about. Like I don't care about some of these characters that I have, but I have the books because I thought, oh, I gotta buy. Well, now I want to hone in like Tim does. He hones in on what he likes, and that's what he collects, and everything else is kind of just to kind of put money in his pocket to buy those books.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened one time. I don't like Deadpool, but I got some guy was selling before the first movie came out. Some guy had 4 raw near mint copies, and he was selling them for $1,000. And no, I think he said 1,100. I said, I'll give you $1,000. And he was selling it. No, $250 a piece. I go, dude, I'll give you $1,000 for all 4 of them. It was okay. So I sent them in, got them graded. 2 came back 9.6, 2 came back 9.8, and I sold them all. Right. So I remember the 9.6s, I think sold for $600-700. The 9.8s roughly $1,000, and I use those to buy other things. I don't own a copy of New Mutants 98 now, nor do I own any copies of First Appearance of Cable, but I was buying them up knowing that other people wanted them, so that I could use them as capital to get what I wanted. So
and then you get that book you want, that first Thor.
Right. Yep.
So speaking of firsts, and we're keeping on the Teen Titans.
All right.
Whatever you want to call it, theme.
Kick. Crypto.
This is the first appearance of Aqualad.
Oh, not Crypto?
Snap.
Nope. This is Adventure Comics 269.
Oh, shit.
First Aqualad, everybody. And that's part of the original Teen Titans. He's not in the new Teen Titans. But he'll be on the Titans show, season 2, which is kind of cool, I think. So
this is like Aqualad in the cartoons.
This is like Aqualad in the cartoon. Well, no, Aqualad in the cartoon.
The original cartoon.
Like the original.
The original, right.
There used to be an Aquaman cartoon. It was just him, and they used to fly around on the seahorses and shit. You remember that? The OG Aquaman cartoon?
So, yeah, like you were talking about, I just got them.
There you go. Rob Liefeld, too?
Yep, both signed.
Yeah. Oh, linear. Otto would like that. That's
he did like that.
Linear.
Yeah, he did like that. But like,
yeah, because you have to get them both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's just so many. Like, at one point, I started like doing like kind of mission collecting, right? Where I was like, all right, I got First Appearance Cable, and now I need the red cover. Show yours again.
Yeah,
those are the orange covers, right?
I think it's the orange one, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a red cover too, and it's not any special variant or anything. It's just somehow during the printing process, some of them came out red. Some have orange, some are red. So everybody at home now is looking at their their new New Mutants 87, wondering, do I have the red cover or do I have the orange cover?
Much yellow.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of rare to see the red one. Most people have the orange one. So the longest time I was looking for the red cover on this. It's not considered a printing error or anything. It's rarer to find the red cover than it is the orange cover.
Yep. So, and everybody stay tuned. Here in a little bit, I'm going to do an unboxing. Something that I would normally unbox on the hunt, but I'm going to show y'all guys tonight on Grails. So.
I like to see unboxing. Shit.
Yeah. So, I know you're a DC guy, so I got a DC book.
Let me see.
Yeah. Oh, it's right here. So yeah.
Oh yes.
Nice.
That's
Clowns.
Nice. I know Marky 316 would like that one.
Yeah,
Mr. Green Lantern himself.
Yeah, but he won't get it. He's scared.
This was
well, he's probably fixing his roof.
So this was that C2E2 last day. Like I'd been eyeballing this thing like all like the whole weekend, dude. I was there, and I've been like going around looking at other deals, but it's like they say, wait for the last day and throw your deal out and see what happens, and it happened. So I was like, cool.
Yep, best time to wheel and deal because they don't want to bring all the stuff home. But some guys, I mean, I talk to the big to do all the time, and some guys it's just there to show off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't really want to sell it.
You can
know,
tell.
Yeah.
'cause- yeah, because if their wall is still full of books at the end of the show, that they weren't ready to sell it. That's not emotional attachment, or they're looking for a certain amount. But it's like no. And be honest with you, most of the time, before the show even starts, most of those things are gone. It's between dealer and dealer sell. And the stuff they're putting on the wall is something they already bought and they marked it up another 30-40% and they're trying to sell it. And that's, the deep belly of the underside that nobody wants to talk about is most of this is just dealer upon dealers selling back and forth. Even before the show even opens, boom, they done everything and they're happy. They can go home now. They already got whatever they got.
Well, and then it's up to us to kind of try to be patient. Now, if you're patient, you can find deals. I found a deal on this book.
Oh, snap.
This is first appearance of
Kid Flash. Yes.
Keeping with the Teen Titans. Flash 111. I'm gonna get all these graded and pressed and cleaned and everything. There's a little bit of water damage on this, but hey, it's the first appearance of Kid Flash, man.
You ever notice why the Flash's like rogues galleries are just like random dudes that can freeze him or do weather on him?
His rogues gallery is actually very entertaining. There was during the New 52 run, there was a villains month, I guess, or a villains couple weeks that they did. And there was a crossover where it was all the rogues, and they're not bad guys per se, like on the show. Captain Cold is kind of, he's a thief, but he's
right? Yeah.
Right. But he's a good guy. And they were all kind of,
he's a thief with a heart.
They were all thieves with a heart, and it was funny. It's a funny read. I appreciate his rogues.
Now, see, I like the CW show. I like the Flash CW show. I enjoyed it, and the Captain Cole on there was really cool. The guy that played him, the guy from Prison Break.
From Prison Break. Yeah. But then they got rid of him, I think. Right? They were like, we're done with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like they like cheesily killed him off. I was like, really, the best dude on the show? Like,
here's the best deal I got. It was I got this definitely before the movie came out, and this is my favorite female character. So I got these. I have my favorite martial arts characters. My favorite female character always has been Phoenix.
I just watched the movie last night.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. But I mean, I got this I bought it $200 raw. Got it signed by Chris Claremont and graded. So at the 9.6 was about $1,500. I think it dropped a little bit now, but if you buy something for $200, get it graded, and then it go up in value by that much, that's a good deal. And I think now is the best time to buy this book because the movie tanked so badly. But once Feige gets a hold of it, he's going to do.
It'll do it right.
He's going to do the Death of Phoenix proper because Kevin Feige is a comics historian. He loves the OG storylines. He's going to do the Death of Phoenix again, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a long time to make sure we get that dirty taste of the Fox version. Just like DC's taking so long to do a Green Lantern movie, so everybody can forget about Green Lantern. But Ryan Reynolds keeps on making fun of it, so I don't think we'll ever forget about Ryan Reynolds making fun of his Green Lantern movie every chance he gets in Deadpool.
Shouts out to Silver Age Dave, 90MF Comics, Man from Beantown, Swing Time. Everybody else in the chat. So that's like the Ryan Reynolds thing. It's always gonna be funny. To me, all right, so I got this book and it reminds me of Ryan Reynolds. I don't care what they say. It looks like Ryan Reynolds. And I know the Tyler Kirkham cover, but it looks like Ryan Reynolds to me. It's like
it does.
A little bit, yeah, right. Man, he's such a good artist though.
It's a much better costume. Awesome. It's a much better costume than the one he had in the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah. I was like, this is just one I seen, and I was like, Thanatos showed it, and I was like, yo, I got to get that cover.
You got to get the new Tech 1013 Tyler Kirkham cover.
That looks sweet too.
It looks really delicious. Good. It's like Batman, and then he's bleeding out of his mouth, and it's all in blood. His rogues gallery.
Oh man,
Tyler Kirkham posted it on his Facebook page. It looks dope. And so I'm pretty sure it's because it's the 13th issue, or 1013. So I think you can pre-order it now on Tyler Kirkham's website. I met him before, actually. He's a cool cat because our friend John Wynn, J and Guy 1 from YouTube, he does original art now. He first met Tyler Kirkham, I want to say 3 years ago. We were both at WonderCon together, and he had Tyler Kirkham commission him some original art. And that's when he made the connection with Tyler Kirkham. And then that's when Kara's Comics got Tyler Kirkham to do covers for him. And that's how, you know, our man JN Guy 1, my cousin, is behind the scenes making power moves. Son.
Power moves.
Power moves.
So you were talking about your favorite female character. I'll show mine. It's funny that we kind of had, and I swear we didn't talk about this beforehand.
No, we were just gonna berate Otto.
Zatanna is definitely my favorite female
Fishnet, black
Love it.
pantyhose, big legs showing through the hole. Yeah.
Yes. The only time I saw her done well, the look correctly was on Smallville. I haven't seen anything since, and I need to see something. I need to see something.
There has been. The only other thing, she was in Justice League Dark, the animated film, and that was it.
But I want live action.
There you go.
Yes.
Is that Adam Hughes?
There you go.
Adam Hughes.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I'm missing issue 15. So if anybody has a nice copy of issue 15, I need it. Get a hold of me.
The Big To Do does. The Big To Do. Follow you guys. Follow the Instagram.
Yes, I saw that. I do.
Yeah.
I gotta call
he
him.
just bought a huge. He drove to Virginia. I think about 90 long boxes and all kinds of Adam Hughes books.
Hang on, Comic Books NYC. I'll be right back. I got that question answered for you, buddy.
All right. While he's gone, let me show you another personal grail of mine. And the reason why this is a personal grail of mine because it features two of my favorite characters on the cover together.
Awesome. Oh,
this is the iconic Thor versus Silver Surfer. When I first saw this, I was like, man, this has to be mine. Shout out to Jimmy C. I got this from Jimmy C a while ago, maybe 2 years ago. I got it, I think, for like $500-600. And at that time, I thought I paid too much. But now this book is crazy hot. If the two ever meet in the movies, this book is going to be crazy. And this is the old label. You know what? I see it. I may crack in a repress it. Eventually, a lot of these, I'm just gonna send in anyway, just for the new labels. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm kind of ADD like that when you see the old labels and the new labels. But this is that giant label because of the double bound books.
But so you think I don't know. I think you get a grade bump on some of them, don't you think? Like if you just
some of them. So for people who don't know my old channel, I've done these experiments like in the past. So most famously, the first appearance of Hawkeye, I had TOS 57, right? The first appearance of Hawkeye. I had a PGX book. I bought I know AG Surfer loves the Silver Surfer because he's a big Silver Surfer himself. Shout out to AG Surfer and his brother. Hey, shout out Mahalo's Doom.
Combo brother.
So I bought the first Hawkeye. And I made the mistake of, hey, I'm gonna get a PGX book. They don't know how to grade. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna clean it. I'm gonna get a higher grade. Man, that motherfucker came back restored, a lower grade. I was like, man, that pissed me off, man. Because even when I show the book, people go, hey, man, those pages trim. I go, fuck, now that you mention it, you know. Because I put it on Instagram, and then one guy's like, "Hey man, are those pages?" I'm like, "Fuck!" Now that you, because in your own mind, you don't see the defects, right? Until somebody else points it out, and then you look at it close, you're like, "Oh shit, you're right. It could be trimmed." Sure,
all right,
it was.
So Comic Book NYC had a question about what is Zatanna's first cover appearance, and it's actually on this book here, Adam 19. That's the first cover appearance of Zatanna.
What's that?
Ooh. This is part of this continues the run from Hawkman. There's like a 6 or 5 issue crossover where it crossovers with Adam, Batman, and Green Lantern, and it does a story where she's actually looking for her father. And I think it may very well be the very first multi-comic crossover storyline.
You get that floating head Friday.
That's right. And then I guess I'll back it up, finishing off the Teen Titans first appearances. This bad boy.
Oh, hold up now.
Ooh.
This is the first appearance of Robin. Now, I will say...
Is that your oldest tech book?
Yes. It is a coverless. However, live only on the Tony Sanders Show, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man. We about to see it, yo. We about to see it.
You will get. So it's missing the first cover. It's a repro cover, which actually is pretty cool. I mean, they reproed it.
Oh, exactly like.
Yeah. I mean, it's well done. It's got a little patina on it, even.
Yo, send it to PGX and they'll grade it. They won't know any difference.
But here you go. Here's the very first appearance of Robin in comics. Everybody,
Oh,
right
man.
there.
Damn. What am I supposed to show after that, man? That's fucked up. Go ahead, Tony. I'll let you follow up after that, man.
I told you.
All right, I got two more, man. I'll bring some heat right here, man.
Oh, look at him.
I'll bring some heat right here, man. This is a personal grail of mine, and this is my fourth slab copy, but this is the highest graded one that I have. And I was snapping these up.
Oh, you got 9.8.
Any movie talk was coming out. I got two of them signed by Starlin and Englehart. But this one I'm not gonna fuck with. I'm not gonna tempt the fates. You know, I have a 9.6, 9.8, both raw, or excuse me, both unsigned blue labels. But I ain't gonna fuck around, and you know, it's not worth it to me. I've kind of come full circle on signatures, right? When people used to get signatures, really the only time you really get a bump was if it was Stanley's signature. Because now it's not worth. If it's a raw copy, then go by all means, you know, go ahead and get it signed and then pressed. But if you already have a high graded book and it's unsigned, I mean, short of Jesus Christ coming down to sign it, there's no reason to crack it and have it signed. Because if it comes back a 9.6, that's almost a kiss of death from a 9.8.
Oh, that 9.0 DC Presents that I showed was a blue label 9.6. I cracked it. I cracked it. I got it double signed, and it came back a yellow 9.0. It went from a 9.6 to a 9.0. Yeah. They said it had a rusty staple. Those sons of bitches. Yeah,
sometimes they don't catch it the first time, man. So it's like if you have a high grade, you know, keep it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you get Chris Claremont's signature. He signs everything, a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. I mean, the only time in the past we were doing that is with Stan Lee, because Stan Lee will get you a bump in value by what 20-30%, right?
Oh yeah.
But that's my fourth. I have a 9.6. I have a 9.2 and a 9.0 on that one. But that's a personal grail, and I forgot where I got that. Actually, no, I got that off of Dennis for Comics, who right, he had a 9.8. I know he was sitting on it for a while, and he was cool enough to sell it to me for what it was going for, even because I asked him about it as soon as the news dropped. He goes, dude, I'll just give it to you for what it's worth right now, not after the movie spec news. So that was cool of him.
Well, this is a 9.8, but it's a 9.6.
Oh, snap.
It's a Teen Titans 1 double sign again by Marv Wolfman and George Perez.
I sense a theme here.
There is a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I like me some Titans, man. Look, man, it's not unreasonable to think that a 42-year-old man can sit on his couch and watch Teen Titans Go by himself in his underwear. Okay,
I don't need all that, man. You need fucking tidy whities and shit.
I don't wear tidy whities, man.
Dark Side. I guess we're Grail Bros.
Oh yes, sir. I love it.
Damn.
All right, Tim, where's yours, buddy?
I had a Teen Titans 1. The Silver Age.
Look, he's on the hot seat now.
But I got rid of it. So, but what I do have, this is my last Grail here. And this is a holy Grail. This isn't my personal Grail, but this is, this is my Hulk 181 7.5. See I don't fuck with these anymore, man. If I see an old label on it, I mean, I'm really hesitant on such a big dollar book. I don't want it to drop half a grade. So I think about it, because I mean, I look at it. Sometimes some of these older books, they're overgraded or undergraded. This is about graded. You ever heard because if you have a good reputable presser, take it to them, and typically they can look through the slab and tell you if there's any pressable defects. I know our presser, Rocket Comics, is in Cali, but he goes throughout the country, going signatures, submissions. Is a really cool cat. Another good guy is Heroes Restoration up in Oregon. You can actually pay him. You can mail your slab to him, and I think it's like a $5 fee. Well, he'll evaluate and he'll tell you if it's a candidate to get cracked and pressed and to get a better grade. Obviously he doesn't guarantee anything. There's no guarantees in life, but it's a kind of a cool service, right? So hey, I'm gonna send you these. Can you take a look at them? See, because never take anybody's word to just get a picture and say, oh, I think I can get you a bump on that. He'll actually take a look at it, and he'll go through it with his own eyes and touch it and see if there's anything that's pressable that can come out. But sometimes Like I think there's a sweet spot, right? But I right around 5.0 to 7.5, 8.0 maybe sometimes where you can get a nice bump. I've seen craziest things I've seen is somebody taking a 9.6 and cracking it and getting a 9.8. And it's happened, but you won't see me doing that. I've had too many bad experiences where I won't tempt the fates.
I am shell shocked. I'm too scared to do stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
So Joker movie's coming out. And I figured I would show my third appearance of the Joker.
Oh, hold on.
This is the third overall appearance.
Damn.
This is Detective Comics 45. I got this at a local con. Actually,
Sweet.
Bam Pow Comics on Instagram.
Yep.
Her dad sold it to me at a Michigan Comic Con.
Oh, she's a girl?
She is, yeah.
No shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, you can do a lot of great dealing on Instagram. It's
big time. I've bought the majority of my
Yeah.
books that I don't buy off eBay are off of Instagram from
Oh,
reputable dealers and sellers and friends.
Yeah, because you know why? I mean, you can ask around. I mean, if somebody's got a good reputation, you'll know. If they're sketchy, boom, people will put them on blast on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they will immediately blow them up.
Isn't there some sort of like Instagram
Yeah,
like
there's
checks and
a
balances thing?
yeah.
Our
There's
friend Comics MV started that, or was it Slab in her ankle started it. Slab in her ankle started it like 4 or 5 years ago, where he said you put like the user's hashtag, the user's name, and then there was something else if they're a good or bad seller, which is a great way of it, policing itself.
So I have one other cool book that I wanted to show, and there's a funny story behind it. I don't know, funny.
Oh yeah. Oh, I totally forgot. I had one more too. I was just
Funny, not
not trying to up you, Ryan, but it
No,
was
it's
just
okay,
sitting there.
it's
I forgot
okay.
to mention- yeah.
funny, not funny. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it is kind of funny 5 years later. But anyway, so when I was buying all my books, I started getting into, Silver Age and stuff. So I ended up really loving Teen Titans. So I bought this book, Teen Titans, or Brave and the Bold 60, I think this is.
not the first Wonder Girl, or is it?
Yeah, this is first Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
And I think like first time Teen Titans title or whatever. So it sat in a box because I had bought the omnibus, so I was reading the story through the omnibus, so I didn't want to ruin anything, touch this or anything. So a friend of mine probably 6 months ago came over, and I'm showing him a bunch of books. And I was trying to explain to him the smell of a comic book, the difference between a slab and a raw book. You know, how a raw book, you can open it, you can smell it, other people touched it. I mean, there's a different experience with an old comic book.
Yeah.
So I picked this one up randomly and I opened it. So let me show you what I found. 5 years, 5 years later, by the way.
Oh, so this is in the. Oh,
This has been in the box for 5 years until I took it out to show my friend. That sounded really
You
bad.
found
didn't it?
$1.
No. Well, I found a little bit more than $1.
He's gonna fuck it up. Ooh, double cover.
what?
Why are you still sitting on
What?
that?
What?
Because
It's
it's interesting just to get a double cover slab because they'll grade you on both covers.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now they put both of them on there, don't they? They like put
Yeah, they'll
both
tell you
grades.
what the first one, the second one is. If you have 3 of them, they grade all 3 covers, which is interesting. You could literally get a 9.6 on the outside, you can get a 9.4 on the inside, you can get
This
an
will be getting sent
8.0.
out for grading for sure.
Oh well, I'll just show this because I can't beat a double cover. So
Nice.
like,
I love me
Thanos.
some Thanos, man.
yeah, I got this off who that off. Speaking of Instagram, I got it from
Who Dat?
who that off Instagram. Yeah, and so
Now's
yeah,
the time
man.
to buy that book.
yeah.
I don't think Thanos is done either in the MCU.
Well, if you look, like it's still since you said like multiverse or whatever, they're gonna do multiverse. So
You know, I'm
Never know.
so okay. Being a DC fan now, I know they did it in the TV shows, but the fact that MCU got to the multiverse before DC did really aggravates me. Really aggravates
They
me.
got it on TV.
I know it's
mean,
not the same. No,
kinda,
come on.
Yeah.
I mean, TV is great and all, but that big screen.
Yeah,
Domination.
here's my last one, and this book just recently popped, man. And this was a surprise to everybody at San Diego Comic Con. Once again, I got this from my cousin Jay and Guy One. But this one, I just said, you know what, I need to get this, and then I just sat on it, and then sure enough, it's worth a little coin now, man. This is Tomb of Dracula number 10.
Oh,
It's
he
a
got
9.0. It's a
Blade.
9.0. You see it?
Try to put it to your left side.
There you
There
go.
it is. There it is.
Oh, there you go.
Signed by Marv Wolfman on March 2016. So that's March 25th. That's WonderCon 2016. Yeah, because Marv Wolfman does every WonderCon. He's local to SoCal. Because I see him at my LCSs doing signings all the time. He's a tall dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Marv Wolfman. But yeah, I got this for how much I want to get it. I think I got it for $400 or $500 in this condition, like graded and signed already. So I was like, cool, man, I was a fair deal. So
as soon as how did Otto say it?
Marsha Mahala. Yeah, Marsha Halaba.
As soon as he makes his debut, that book's gonna just go crazy.
Dark Side, you were talking about DC and the multiverse. So,
oh yes, I love that book. I like the other one too, where it's Reverse Flash.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
But that's definitely a cool book. You know, it's funny when I see shows like this, it gets me itching so bad to want to buy, and then I gotta sell some of this shit first before I can buy. I gotta make. I mean, it's like too much. You guys are bad influences. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, it's what's your grail? What would you buy?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of buy, let's see what I bought. What I would usually show on the hunt. This would be like a hunt book, but it's not. So, what does it usually cost to slab a book? Like what, $20? Then to mail it out, well, like $10. So about $30 and more to send it out and stuff. So I got this book on eBay on auction.
I'd
for
say probably about $60 overall.
Yeah, well, I got this book for $35 on the auction, and it was it's a 3.0. So even at a 3.0, it was a good deal for me. I think it was just a good investment to buy it. So
the cost of the grading,
alone
is more than that.
Shell, you ship a slab, it's like $15.
What did we show on our long-term spec list the other day? That one slab sold for $16.
Yeah, somebody got a killer deal on that. Basically, just pay for the price of shipping and get a free comic book.
That's insane. But look, if you're patient, you can definitely find deals.
Yep. And
Just
so with all the signing or whatever, with the X-Men thing going on and everything, and then speculations and all that. So mind you, $35. It's a 3.0 newsstand.
Nice.
Wow, man.
First appearance of Emma Frost, first Sebastian Shaw, first Kitty Pryde.
3 first appearance for $35 in a slab.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I got one of those.
You know what? That's deal.
I got mine
day,
signed by Chris Claremont. Yeah, I had a goal in my collecting of slabbing 94 through 142. I have about 16 of them slab. So I have 94 giant size X-Men 100, and then like the Dark Phoenix saga stuff. And, you know, my goal was like, that's my favorite comic book run of all time, 94 to 142, basically Claremont, Byrne, Cockrum, all those cats. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just get them all slabbed. And, you know, because, you know, on CGC, you can get like fucking coupon or certificate or something.
Yeah.
But then I found out, I was like, man, it's hard to get all these. And I was like, I'm going to get them all 9.6 at least. And I was like, a couple came back, 8.5. Like, hey, fuck that.
How many books total?
94 through 142, basically first giant size,
but
first appearance of New X-Men up to Days of Future Past.
They're all slab?
No. Oh, that's my mission. That's like that's my side quest.
Right, okay.
Mission, man. That's my side quest.
Nice.
Get them all slab.
That's a good. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to take a break from buying and do some maintenance.
Yeah. Sometimes, man, and sometimes it's just cheaper to just buy them slab. And people get they fall in love with their copy. They think their copy is the shit. But then if you go on eBay and look, it's like, man, I can get a 9.6 for like $70.
You know, I find.
Or do I want to take a chance and try to grade my copy and it comes back 8.5?
And I find for raw purposes, it's easier to sell a book that's graded, just hands down. It's just easier. Yeah. It takes all the thought out of it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but the X-Men runs was like something, you know, like I used to do part of my collecting was like I always had side missions. Like my side mission was to get the first black suit in every Spider-Man run. right? So it's
Yeah.
like Spectacular, Amazing, Web of, Marvel Team Up, and there's 5 books all total, right? And the one that eluded me for the longest time was Spectacular Spider-Man. I just couldn't find it in a high grade, but it's an easy book. But nobody ever says that's the first appearance. It's the first black. It's in that issue. It's the first time the black costume appeared in that run for it, and so that was my side quest. My also side quest was getting all the Bronze Age Nova and all the Bronze Age Miss Marvel. Like this was like years ago, right? When they're relatively cheap. And also Strange Tales. Like I got the entire Brother Voodoo run on Strange Tales because I was gonna like it's gonna pop, so I gotta get it.
Hold on.
I figured I can't be on a What's Your Grail without showing this book.
Oh man.
You should have started with that.
I did.
Batman
this
2.
definitely is my this is the one book. If I did sell everything, this is the one book that wouldn't get sold.
Batman #2.
This is the second appearance. I don't know if that'll show up very well.
It is 5.0 #2, and that's unrestored.
Second, unrestored. Off
Damn, that's
white.
a high.
Man.
That's a high freaking grade for #2 Batman.
It's got that little bit of writing, RDP. So I don't know who that is, but thank you for writing on your book.
Richard Dick Pierce.
Cool little Red Rider, Daisy BB. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely. And the craziest story about this book is that I found it on eBay through a seller. It was a contingency, or what do they call it? A consignment seller.
Consignment. They're selling it for somebody. Yeah.
And in the remarks or in the description, it said time payments. Okay. So I contacted them, and they're like, okay, this is the price if it's time payments, or this is the price if you buy it outright. So I made an offer. They accepted my offer, but they didn't want to go through eBay. I'm like, you know what? Shit. I was really nervous about this, and everyone, you're going to call me stupid, but it worked out. Sometimes you got to take risk in life, ladies and gentlemen.
So they didn't want to pay the PayPal fees.
They didn't want to pay the PayPal fees. So I got a certified check from the bank and I mailed it.
Damn, you went like eBay 2001 and shit. Oh, let me get that money over.
And guess what? 2 weeks later, this was in my hands. Thank God. Thank God I didn't get ripped off.
Like within 2 weeks,
speaking of Grail,
you want to talk about my testicles were up inside my stomach.
This is
for 2 weeks straight.
My ultimate raw Grail right here. Marvel Comics #1. I'm just kidding. It's a Halloween comic. I don't really mess with bronze or Golden Age too much. I only deal with stuff.
I do a little. I
only deal in stuff I know the absolutes of. I'm like, Siths only deal in absolutes. Well, I'm a Sith then. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, see,
really
I have one Golden Age book, and the only reason I got it because I'm a Redskin fan. It's a comic called Redskin from like early 1950s, late 1940s. But if I don't know everything about it, then I don't fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't go out and buy a Golden Age unless like Bronze Age. That's my comfort zone. I know
if you're a Batman collector, though, you have to buy Golden Age. You know what I mean? Like the older, some of the biggest books are the Golden Age books.
Well, that's why I'm glad I'm a Marvel fan, because Marvel is Silver Age and they dominate the Bronze Age as far as keys are concerned, right? Like the DC owns the Golden Age and most of the Silver Age, but then Marvel came around. They were like, oh hey, here's Amazing Fantasy, X-Men, FF, and you're like, damn, look at all these big books all of a sudden. But then the Bronze Age is where Marvel really killed it and where DC kind of fell asleep at the wheel. But DC absolutely owns the Golden Age, right? And when you talk about Marvel, there's really Marvel Comics #1, really that's it. And then not until FF1, Amazing Fantasy.
You have those Captain America books, but those are more that was timely, right? That wasn't really Marvel per se.
Yeah. But even up to before Amazing Fantasy and FF1, DC was still having a lot of Silver Age stuff. But I think just like Coke and then Pepsi comes along, people, the younger cats want to get the new stuff, right? I mean, I think and Marvel came around, Stan Lee came around with some new storytelling. I mean, that's why it's interesting. If you think about DC, they created these iconic heroes, right? But Marvel created iconic creators, right? You say Marvel, you say Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, right? But it's hard to find, like, unless the guys who created Superman, the guy who created Batman, Kane, the crazy Molten guy who created Wonder Woman.
Stories in the Golden Age weren't
Yeah, they're kind of
long
wonky.
runs.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't long runs though. It was one
And
and
they were
done.
just straight goofy too. I
One
mean,
and
you got to
done,
look
one
at
and
some of
done,
the
one and
Batman
done.
covers. You're like, what the fuck are you thinking, man?
But you look at these cats like Claremont and all these guys who did X-Men in the Bronze Age and the Silver Age. It's long running stories.
Yeah, and they also came around a time where, we all hear the stories about how comics were poo-pooed on in the, in the Golden Age, right? Hey, they're gonna destroy your brain along with our reefer. Don't do it, don't mess with it. But in the Silver Age, it kind of became an accepted counterculture from the Silver Age to the Bronze Age, right? Where you got guys, smoking with weed, kids are in college, they want to expand their minds, all this trippy shit like Steve Ditko doing with Doctor Strange, and before DC was doing like the straight up superhero stuff, and that's why Batman stood the test of time, because he's always kind of been the darker character in the DC world. But Superman, after a while, you just kind of get tired of the good old boy, and the kind of good Boy Scout thing where Stan Lee said, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And I forgot the article, but you got to read it up and you understand why Stan Lee put hyphens in all of his characters' names, right? Spider-Man has a hyphen, X-Men has a hyphen, Superman doesn't, Batman doesn't, Ant-Man has a hyphen.
No one can relate to Superman. No one can relate to flying into space and punching a hole in the moon. Kids could relate to a teenage kind of awkward kid who got some superpowers. I mean, you can relate to that kind of stuff.
Girlfriend
people say they can relate to Batman, but I don't think. Unless you're
speaking of Superman, so like, what do y'all think on this?
Oh, guy? I like that a lot. And if you watch our post from yesterday,
that's on our long spec list
for sure. I like that a lot. That's a big time spec book. Eventually, they're going to have to do it. Well, they kind of did Sentry in Superman 4.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Think about it. Yeah.
Saturn Man. What was that cast name?
Yeah. That blonde dude. Yeah.
I remember. You remember Ryan? Remember Vibranium Smuggler used to do those contests on Instagram. He would pit characters against each other, and whenever the Sentry came up, people were like, "Pick." He would do these things on Instagram where he's like, "Okay, pick 3 characters." And they get to go up against somebody else's 2 characters, and then the basically Instagram community votes who wins, right? And there's always be somebody who say, "But the Sentry is the most powerful," this and that. And they're like, and it would be fun. Maybe we'll do that again. We used to have something, I don't know if you remember this, Tony, called Fanboy Fight Club on our channel, on our first iteration of our channel. We would have random YouTubers come on and debate who would win, like between Aquaman and Namor. Who else we do? We did
Thanos and Darkseid.
We did Hawkeye versus Green Arrow.
Yeah, we did.
And I think at that time, the show was probably ahead of what our subscriber base was. We weren't getting quite the turnout for it, but I think once we get enough subs again, now that the popular, because after a while you lose your sub count.
I mean, we could even offer prizes, give a comic book away or something to the winner, stuff like that, make it fun. But it was a really cool idea. We had Nightwing versus Star Wars versus Star Trek, and Star Trek won. Can you believe it?
Really?
Me and Ryan are huge Star Wars fans.
Because it was about the debate. It was about, can you make your point? And the Star Trek guy made better points than the Star Wars guy.
Next thing you know, I know
Star Wars.
He was on the Lords of the Long Box show after that. It was Otto.
That's right.
So Otto battled Beyond the Blast Doors, right? Huge Star Wars channel, right? But Otto defended Star Trek, but little did Beyond the Blast Doors. And Otto's just as big as Star Wars fan is he a Star Trek fan, so he can debate from both sides of it. You know what I mean? So that was kind of cool. Like we did like Thanos versus Darkseid.
We did Batman Rogues versus Spider-Man Rogues.
Yeah. So it was a real fun debate show. We just have 2 guys come on, and I wish the video was still there. The show we did with Aquaman versus Namor was Undisputed Frost versus Marky 316, and it was just expletiveville. They were just fucking going at each other. They were talking about each other's mothers. They were just, it was good, man. I tell you, I remember that video was like, they said you cannot monetize this because there's way too much cursing. It was out of control. And then after that, they set the bar so low, I guess you said, and everybody felt like they had to come on and just fuck with each other like that. It was hilarious.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Man, like y'all need to bring that back.
I would love to. I would love to.
Like I would come on there. Like
so
who wants to debate Captain Marvel? I'd be like, who wants to debate?
Well, you have to find your count. Who would Captain Marvel go up in the DC world?
DC. Let's see. Ooh, who would that be on?
That's why we were doing like pitting DC versus Marvel. So Green Arrow versus Hawkeye. We did Darkseid versus Thanos. Who else did we do? Namor versus Aquaman was the most obvious one, right?
Nightwing versus
Oh, you can do
Winter
Cap
Soldier.
versus Guardian. You can do Captain America versus the Guardian.
Did we do Cap versus Batman? No,
Or you
we
can do
didn't.
that too,
We
yeah.
didn't do that. We didn't do that.
No, they're so hard, but I think the one that was the hardest was the Batman's Rogues versus Spider-Man's Rogues, right? Because those are the two most iconic. Because you have to find characters that are similar to each other. We did Superman versus Thor.
Yes,
That's the
that's
big
right.
one
We did do
Superman.
Superman versus Thor.
Yeah, and so we were judges and as well, and the live chat got to judge as well. So, and I put certain criteria you had to do. You had to do how well you knew the character history, their powers, their origins, and then how they would fare against their opponent. So, and based on that debate, it would go on. And then Norman versus Lex is another good one. That would be good too.
So the interesting thing about the Darkseid Thanos one was that it came out that Thanos cannot use his gauntlet outside of the 616.
Yes.
So it nullified the gauntlet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a very cool. Like people bring some really cool stuff because they do
the
a little bit
Infinity
of
Gauntlet
research.
only works in its own dimension or its own universe. Once you take it out of it, so at that point we were like, okay, so where are you guys fighting? Because that if the two sides knew where they were fighting, then it automatically if they fought in the DC world, then Thanos would automatically lose. If they were fought in the 616, Thanos would win, right? No way Darkseid beat Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. So and then it was like, wait, does he have the Infinity Gauntlet or doesn't he? So it's like interesting. Right. It's like the kind of geek kind of arguments you have with your boys at the LCS.
Water cooler. It's a water cooler argument.
Exactly. Just probably too early for its time. I think we'll bring it back once we get the subs up higher again. And
agreed.
Probably less swearing. So I don't know if we have Marky back since he was drunk when he was on. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun. Well, it was fun for us because we were cracking up.
I loved it.
Oh man.
You know, it's kind of. I mean, the Bat and the Sun people do that superhero beatdown, so it's kind of like that, but with intellectuals debating.
No, well, I mean, the ideal would be to have these two guys go at it, verbalizing it, and then we could somehow animate what they're saying, but we don't have those skills.
Oh yeah, that'd be hilarious, man. Yeah. So, y'all got anything coming up?
I'm laughing at Irish Snake Man. Ryan, there's a Batman 1 on eBay right now. Only $55K. You got this. Nah, I'm going to have to pass on that one, man, until tax return at least.
Sell your timeshare. Nah, man. We going live tomorrow for our weekly show, 6 p.m. Lords of the Long Box. We're back now. We're trying to getting close to 2,000 subs. Next week, we got a really big show, again, exclusive on the Wolverine versus Hulk movie. I got some details that are exclusive to the Lords that we got from a new insider scoop named Mikey Sutton. If you Google his name, he's the one that's been dropping some major news recently. So he's a fan of the channel, and he's going to give us the exclusive on the Wolverine versus Hulk movie.
And he's going to join us.
Not yet.
Show. Oh,
no, not yet. In the future episode, he's going to talk about the Sony Marvel deal.
Okay.
But tomorrow, huge, because it's not what you think about Hulk versus Wolverine, man. There's going to be some other characters that are going to show up that Marvel is talking about. So thanks for having us on, Tony. That's it, brother.
Well, man, it's good to have y'all on. And, man, it's an honor, man, to have y'all come on and talk and show y'all's grails and stuff.
I enjoyed it. It was a blast.
I haven't showed it in a while. I did a top 50 video, but
I still need to do mine.
It was an old video. I just wanted to cheat, by the way.
Oh, you lying bastard.
It's roughly all the same books, you know what I'm saying? But it was when my channel got deleted. I mean, you're talking about comic book hauls going back to 2015.
It was 5 years, easy. Yeah. 5 years worth of content.
I no longer had access to, but luckily I had some videos still on my hard drive, and I was like that top 50 video I just did last year. So I was like, I'll just throw that back up so people know that I'm just not some channel talking about movies and comic books, but I'm a collector first, and the reason we do this is to help everybody out. You know what I'm saying? There's a secret cabal of collectors out there, and now we are privy to that information. So now people can go out and get those books before the books pop.
Oh yeah. And y'all have been giving some good information. I picked up the first appearance of Quasar.
Nice.
The
Kyle Rayner book is that thing is popping too.
Oh yeah, here it is right here.
Yep. And it makes sense that he's coming to HBO Max or CW because it's something they can do. Yeah, that interesting. That book is interesting, man, because Quasar, he was known as like Marvel Boy or Marvel Man, then becomes Quasar, and then there's the female Quasar that's in the Annihilation run. So it's got a lot of history. I did Quasar, man. Those nega bands.
Yeah. And it's like that was like my go-to guy after Captain Marvel was gone. It was like, well, go to Quasar.
I know you're a big Captain Marvel fan. I was going to show I have Miss Marvel #1 in a 9.6, the first time Carol Danvers. So, and that book is kind of dropped, man. But
Yeah.
I like one of my side quests. I didn't get to show you what one of my side quests was getting Captain Marvel 25 through 34. Right, that's that Thanos run. That's incredibly hard. It's expensive as fuck. You go to a show,
Yeah.
each book is $125. I finally completed that run because I was looking for them and then the least VF, so I was able to get like one of them is like the first cover appearance of Death. I think that's 26.
Right here.
Yeah, I have that in like a CBCS like 9.2 or something like that. Yeah, that's the first cover appearance of Death.
And then
She's right next to Thanos, right there over his shoulder.
And then that one's
I have that book, but the back cover's ripped off.
this is his origin. The origin of Thanos.
It's a sad.
Yeah.
That's sad when you find shit like that in boxes.
Yeah, that's when Thanos was fucking with the Cosmic Cube. And that's like it's called a Thanos War, something like that. Yeah, I love that run. Any Jim Starlin, anything cosmic. I'm a cosmic first guy. That's why. That's why. I don't hate Batman, but I'm one of the few people you like. I don't really care about Batman because I like my comic books to be fantastical. You know what I mean? I don't read comic books for something that could really happen. That's boring to me. I want to see out in space, cosmic, supernatural. That's why I like Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and Thor. You kind of see a theme to where my collection goes, right?
Yeah.
I like the fantastical stuff. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool,
Nice.
man. So, guys, we're gonna shut it down. This has been What's Your Grails, and join me next time, whenever that will be. I don't know when. That just pop up I just pop up whenever.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
All
I had
right,
a blast. Thanks so much for having us on. I really appreciate it.
Having us on,
Man.
brother.
Thanks for coming on, man.